The purpose of this opening section is to give you some of the presuppositions that we're going to have in order to help you grow. And it's going to start with an exploration of the unconscious mind, that part of our mind we're not conscious of from moment to moment. There's a part of us, a part of our thinking process, a part of our awareness that we are unconscious of from moment to moment. And in order to understand how to manipulate and gain control of areas of the unconscious mind, we need maps. We need some kind of symbolic system to communicate with the unconscious mind. Why? Because the unconscious mind has the psychology of a 3, 4, or 5-year-old child. It does not know the difference between what is real and what is not real. The unconscious is a process that's taking place inside of us as our brains absorb stimulation in the form of light, sound, taste, touch, and smell. As we get older, we develop the capacity to derive meaning from the activities and the sensory stimulation that we have coming in from the outside. And then, as we age even more, we begin to have ideas filling our mind. Ideas that for some people never stop. They just keep coming and coming and coming. One of the best descriptions of ideas that I have ever heard was given by a great Buddhist teacher, Daisaku Ikeda, who said, "Thoughts are like leaves on a tree. They just keep growing and growing." If you want to be in charge of your life, do not identify with the leaves. Watch the leaves grow and let them fall just like they would in the fall. It's a beautiful image. We are not our thoughts. We are not our bodies. We are not our emotions. We are conscious beings having a human experience in these bodies with a mind to comprehend what the experience is like, with emotions to tell us what's happening energetically inside of us in response to the activities, stimulations, and situations of our life. We develop what we call the egoic mind. 18 months to 2 years old, that little mind says, me, I'm having this experience. And me takes charge for most people for the rest of their lives. The unconscious mind, that part of our mind that we were in for those first 18 months, that continues. But for many people, it is suppressed, repressed, or denied. And the wonderful transformation that takes place in the work of clinical hypnotherapy is that we learn how to communicate with the unconscious mind. We're all learning behavior and change take place. We're now talking to the unconscious mind. We're empowering the unconscious mind to have a sense of itself so that we can communicate with it. We're going to honor the unconscious mind with a list, what we call, of the prime directives. The unconscious mind's prime directive, number 1, is self-preservation. It wants to keep you alive. It wants to keep me alive. It wants to keep life alive. And in order to do this, one of the first things it does is it stores memories. The unconscious is where your memories reside. It is the domain of your emotions. Your emotions arise and they're stored in the unconscious mind. Your unconscious mind organizes all memories and it organizes all emotions associated with memories. The unconscious mind will repress memories with unresolved negative emotions. It will present repressed memories for rationalization, and it may keep the repressed emotions repressed for protection. If the unconscious mind believes that bringing those emotions up will distract it from attaining your stated goals, your objectives in any given situation, the unconscious will suppress those emotions. Just like holding down a beach ball underwater. It's going to hold it down and it'll take energy to hold it down. The unconscious mind runs your body. The unconscious mind preserves the body. The unconscious mind is a highly moral being. and it has the morals of the environment in which it was raised and conditioned. The unconscious mind wants to be a servant, and it wants to follow orders. The unconscious mind controls and maintains all perceptions. It generates, stores, and distributes and transmits energy. The unconscious mind maintains instincts and generates habits. It needs repetition for long-term projects. Your unconscious mind can be programmed to improve all of your learning. The unconscious mind is programmed to continually seek more and more. This part of the unconscious mind is very ancient. It's an evolutionary process. The unconscious mind has grown on this planet from the moment the first biology appeared. The unconscious mind functions best as a whole integrated unit. The unconscious mind responds to symbolic language, action, and stimulation. We're going to learn how to use symbolic language to communicate with the unconscious mind. The unconscious mind takes everything personally. Why? Because the unconscious is tied to the egoic structure of consciousness. The unconscious mind works on the principle of least effort, like water pouring down a hill. It will go around all the obstacles in order to go in the most direct path possible to its goal. And last but not least, the unconscious mind does not process negatives. Think about that. How many times have you seen a child reach into a jar of candy and the adult says, "Don't touch the candy," and the child goes right ahead and reaches in and grabs the candy? That's because the unconscious mind of the child doesn't understand or even process the word don't. If you say to the child, "Take your hand out of the jar," the unconscious mind will take direction, and it'll take direction from a friendly source. That's just an introduction to the prime directives of the unconscious mind to preserve your life. We will use all of these characteristics of the unconscious mind to develop emotional resilience and to remove the scars, the wounds of trauma. At this moment, I want to talk to you about trauma. Trauma takes place when something happens so fast or continuously that it confuses the mind or it confuses the physical body. So in a physical accident, if you accelerate a human body into the dashboard of a car because of a car accident, you're going to have a crushing of the physical structure. And that's called trauma. The body will heal from that kind of trauma if it's not too severe. Likewise, if your life is experiencing sudden change that are happening so fast that the unconscious cannot contextualize and respond to the influence of the environment or the situation, then the emotional body of the human being is traumatized and it will get stuck. It will become blocked as the unconscious tries to respond for survival. It may not process the emotion of shock or anger or despair or grief or sadness. And when that takes place, it builds up and it uses emotional, psychic, and consciousness resources. And that becomes emotional trauma. You'll see evidence of that when people start slowing down in their thinking, they're slow to react, they become numb, they become depressed. These symptoms are evidence of emotional trauma for that person. And because this is taking place at the unconscious level, unless a person is trained and educated how to access the unconscious, this problem will only get worse. And then people start making very poor decisions because they're not able to access a fully rational part of their mind. This is the nature of the work that I do, is to help people develop a rapport with their unconscious mind so that they can release traumatic emotional experiences. The truth is, if you do not release negative emotions like anger and sadness and fear and grief and guilt and shame, they will accumulate and show themselves in the physical distress of the body. They will turn into physical disease or injury. I'm dedicated to reducing human misery. I've chosen this path because of my own struggles with repressed emotions that I was completely unaware of. I have been doing this work for over 20 years, and as a result, I've helped many individuals and groups develop the skills to have a full, active, emotional life that will lead them into a future that they wish to create. Thank you for taking time to be with me for this short introduction. The 9 consciousness. The first 5 are 5 senses. That's taste, touch, sight, smell, and hear. The 6th is the awareness and calibration of the 5 senses. It is the beginning of the application of meaning. In other words, the 6th sense can tell whether it's bitter or sweet, whether it's rough or smooth, whether it's light or dark, whether it's pungent or sweet, whether it's loud or soft. So that part of our consciousness is filtering the 5 senses, the stimulations coming in through the 5 senses. The 7th conscious is the sense of self. It's that part of us that says, I hear, I smell, I taste, I touch, I'm having this experience. The 8th consciousness is likened to the unconscious. It's a deeper well of awareness. And we just talked about the prime directives of the unconscious. In the 8th consciousness, our memories are stored, and in the Eastern philosophy, our karma, all past experiences, all the causes and effects of the past are recorded and stored in our 8th consciousness. Now, the ancients, they wanted to understand what the Buddhas, what the enlightened beings were experiencing and how they had transcended their karmas. And karma means actions. And so they postulated that there's a 9th consciousness, an unconditioned consciousness, and that they called the Buddha nature. All Buddhist practice teaches people how to access the 9th consciousness in order to dissolve and free oneself from the constrictions of the karmas stored in the 8th consciousness, or the misinterpretations of the self thinking it is causing everything in its life, and the 7th consciousness, and the misperceptions taking place in the 6th consciousness from the 5 senses. The 9th consciousness is that part of us which is life itself, unconditioned, which is happening right now. And our work together will be clearing all that is clouding your awareness of the power of your life itself right now. That's where we're headed. Everybody is on that journey, whether they know it or not. The seeker knows they're on that journey. The awakened ones are motivated to help others wake up to that power of what is present right now, generating the universe that we live in. And my hope that you will stay with us as we will practice various exercises and learn new skills to shift our awareness to access this unlimited power that is rising from within us, life itself.